stop scrolling for a second. Whatever you think is the biggest news story in the world right now, whether it's the troops in Venezuela, the tariffs on Europe, or the chaos in the markets, you are wrong. Those are just symptoms. They are the smoke. The fire? The fire started at 11:45 p.m. last night inside the Oval Office with the stroke of a pen. While the rest of the country was arguing about foreign policy, President Trump signed what might be the most consequential document in the history of the American Republic since the Emancipation Proclamation. It's being called Project Sovereign, and the media is completely missing the point of what it actually does. They are reporting it as a personnel shakeup. They are saying Trump is firing the chairman of the Federal Reserve because he refused to lower interest rates. They are framing it as a political dispute, a temper tantrum by a president who wants cheaper loans. But if you read the text of the executive order, specifically Section 4, Paragraph B, you realize this isn't a firing. It is a hostile takeover. For the first time since 1913, the President of the United States has effectively seized direct control over the American money supply. He has declared that because we are in an economic war with China and Europe, the independence of the Federal Reserve is a national security risk. He is arguing that we cannot fight a trade war with one hand tied behind our back by unelected globalist bankers who care more about inflation than winning. So, he is taking the wheel. He is bringing the money printer inside the White House. On the surface, to his supporters, this looks like the ultimate power move. It looks like the final victory against the deep state. Trump is taking back the people's money from the elites. He's going to lower interest rates to zero. He's going to print the money needed to build the Golden Dome, rebuild the military, and revitalize American manufacturing. And he's going to do it without asking Congress for a dime. It sounds like liberation. But here is the mechanics of the global financial system that nobody in the administration seems to understand. Here is the terrifying paradox that turns this victory into the end of the American experiment. The United States dollar does not have value because it is backed by gold. We left the gold standard in 1971. It doesn't have value because of our military. It has value for exactly one reason: trust. The entire world trusts that the US dollar is managed by serious, boring adults who will not destroy the currency just to win an election. That trust is based on the independence of the Federal Reserve. The idea is that the people printing the money are separate from the politicians spending the money. It is the firewall that stops America from becoming Zimbabwe or Venezuela. Last night, Donald Trump burned that firewall to the ground. By seizing control of monetary policy, Trump has signaled to the world that the US dollar is no longer a store of value. It is now a political weapon. It is a tool to be manipulated for short-term political gain. Think about the incentives here. If the president controls the money printer and he has an election coming up, what is he going to do? He is going to print money. He is going to slash interest rates to make the economy look hot. He is going to pump cash into the system to keep the stock market at all-time highs. And for about 6 months, it will feel like a party. Stocks will soar, real estate will boom, everyone will feel rich. But then comes the hangover. You cannot print your way to prosperity. When you flood the system with political money, you dilute the value of every dollar in your pocket. We aren't talking about the 8% inflation we saw a few years ago. We are talking about 20%, 30%, 50% inflation. We are talking about the price of a gallon of milk changing between the time you walk into the store and the time you check out. And here is the global catastrophe. Right now, foreign nations hold roughly $8 trillion in U.S. debt. They hold that debt because they trust the Fed to protect the value of their investment. But if they know that Donald Trump is going to inflate the currency to pay for his trade wars, if they know he is going to debase the dollar to make American exports cheaper, they are going to sell. All of them, all at once. China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, the UK, they will dump US treasuries because nobody wants to hold a melting ice cube. And when they sell, the value of the dollar collapses. The cost of imports, everything from your iPhone to your coffee to the clothes on your back, triples overnight. This is the trap. Trump thinks he is unlocking the full power of the American economy to fight China. In reality, he is destroying the one thing China could never build: the credibility of the US dollar. China has been trying for decades to convince the world that the yuan should be the global reserve currency, but they failed because nobody trusts the Chinese Communist Party to manage money fairly. Everyone knows Beijing manipulates their currency. By seizing the Fed, Trump has just told the world, "We are just like them." He has removed the distinction between the dollar and the yuan. He has leveled the playing field, not by raising them up, but by dragging us down. And let's look at the timing. This is happening at the exact moment we are engaged in a trade war with Europe and a standoff in South America. We need the world to trust us right now. We need global capital to flow into the United States to fund our defense. Instead, we are telling global capital that the rules no longer apply. There is another layer to this, a darker layer, the consolidation of power. The Federal Reserve was one of the last checks on executive authority. It held the purse strings. By removing that check, the presidency becomes something the Founding Fathers never intended. It becomes a king with a checkbook that never runs out. If the president can print money to fund his projects, he doesn't need Congress anymore. He doesn't need tax revenue. He doesn't need you. He can fund the military, the police, the surveillance state, and his own political machine simply by typing an extra zero on a computer screen. It is the ultimate freedom for the executive and the ultimate enslavement for the citizen, because while he prints the money, you pay the price in inflation. Inflation is a tax that nobody voted for. It is a theft of your labor, your savings, and your future. And the scary part? The markets are cheering this morning. The Dow Jones is up 1,000 points. Why? Because Wall Street loves free money. They are addicted to the liquidity. They don't care if the dollar collapses in 5 years, as long as they get their bonuses this quarter. They are dancing on the deck of the Titanic because the captain just announced free drinks for everyone. But look at the gold market. Look at Bitcoin. Look at real assets. They are screaming. They are flashing red warning lights. Gold just hit an all-time high overnight. That isn't speculation. That is fear. That is the smart money realizing that the era of the sound dollar is over. We are entering uncharted waters. No modern Western democracy has ever centralized monetary power like this without suffering a catastrophic collapse. We are following the playbook of Argentina, of Turkey, of Weimar Germany. And we are doing it with a smile, wrapped in the flag, calling it sovereignty. President Trump believes he can command the economy just like he commands the military. He believes that market forces will bend to his will if he is strong enough. But the economy isn't a soldier. It doesn't follow orders. It follows math. And the math says that if you print trillions of dollars to fight a political war, you destroy the currency that war is fighting to protect. The tragedy is that Trump was elected to save the American dream. He was elected to bring back the middle class. But by seizing the money printer, he is guaranteeing the destruction of the middle class. The rich have assets, stocks, real estate, gold, that will rise with inflation. The poor have debt, which gets wiped out. But the middle class? The people with savings accounts? The people with pensions? The people who work for a salary? They are the ones who get crushed. Their life's work is going to be inflated away to pay for the administration's ambitions. So don't let the headlines distract you. The raid in Venezuela is noise. The tariffs are noise. The real story is that the referee has been fired, the scoreboard has been turned off, and the president has taken the ball. The American dollar had a good run. It lasted from 1944 until last night. Now we are entering the age of the Trump dollar. And if history is any guide, you better start looking for a life raft. Because the ship isn't just taking on water. The captain just scuttled the hull to make it go faster.